All right, folks, here we go. It's the Jeff Thidoff Show. I'm Tito, the guy to my left. Yes, my left this time. I promise you. Yes, my left. I do know my right from left. Jimmie Bell joins us here from the former Ohio State Rose Bowl champion.
What's up, big dog?
I guess I shouldn't say former champion. You're still the champion of the Rose Bowl, right?
Don't take it from me, man.
Yes.
I need my championship powers.
You need that there.
Jeez.
He is defensive lineman.
It's hard out here in these streets.
Not even former defensive lineman. He's still a defensive lineman. He's Jimmie Bell. Yes.
Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me.
We will have Vince Workman join us here shortly to talk about Ohio State football. Big win for Ohio State this weekend. A weird weekend in college football, though. When you look at the fact that we'll talk more about Ohio State here. We'll get into that. But the fact that you had both Texas and Penn State lose, and Texas losing to Florida, Penn State losing to UCLA. Good Lord. Let me ask you this. Penn State losing to UCLA. Does that tell you more about Deshaun Foster or about James Franklin? Because Deshaun Foster was there as a head coach and now not there anymore, and this team looked a lot better than it did under Deshaun Foster in recent weeks. Does it tell you more about Deshaun Foster, maybe his shortcomings as a head coach, or does it say more about James Franklin's, it's hard to say inability to coach when he's got such a great winning percentage, but does it say more about him, the fact he loses a game like this?
Yeah, I've been talking about this all weekend. Big Daddy James, I think he gets a bad rep. Okay. This is why. He took a job with the expectation of people. When Penn State came into the Big Ten, people thought that they were going to get the late 80s Penn State that competed with the Notre Dames and the Nebraskas and a little bit of the Miamis. Mm-hmm. And bro, they had been so far from that coming into the Big Ten. But they do that every time somebody comes into the Big Ten. They say that this person's going to run the Big Ten. Right. And then they realize they used to do that in high school. So I'm from Youngstown, Ohio, right? We at one time, we had one of the best, the strongest conferences called the Still Valley Conference. Okay. And I remember when Warren Harding and Warren Western Reserve up in Trumbull County got together, which was one of the most unfair merges you would imagine of a city. And they were independent the first year. They had Corey Stringer, Myron Elzey, LaShawn Daniel. They were loaded. Ran one state, ran through everybody. We knew they would. They came into the Big Ten, to the SVC, and it was a little different party for them. They were better than everybody on paper, but what it meant to be in the SVC was very meaningful to everybody. So they got everybody's best shot, and they lost some games. Very similar to Penn State. Penn State is not Ohio State. They're not even the team up north. People have that expectation. The media puts that expectations on them. So for me, them not winning the big game, so to speak, I'd have to go back and look and see, do I think that those teams were actually better than them, right? You're considering that you got two equal teams coming in and they're losing a game that they should win. Well, I don't look at it like that. That's unfair. The same thing with Texas. Bro, Texas stinks, bro. And part of the reason they stink is that one of the most important positions that they have, they're faltering at. Sure. And they came in faltering at it, and everyone made excuses for it. And now people are they still making excuses for it. But at some point, they're going to have to understand it. The Manning name doesn't go as long as people, you know what I mean? The name alone doesn't throw the ball. The name alone doesn't make the choices and decisions. You know what I'm saying? Sure. You actually have to play the games, as they say. So let me formulate it like this. I think the more impressive win was probably definitely UCLA. Okay. Because UCLA just for some reason doesn't have any cachet. No. And they should. And they used to. They used to back in the Dizzy. And then, Pete Carroll kind of blew that out of the water. It just seems that he did something with recruiting in the state of California, and everybody, they made UCLA obsolete. Yeah. But they still get guys. They shouldn't be as bad as they thought. Now, when they got the homie from Tennessee, right, people tried to poop on the dude for wanting more money. Hey, man, this is the game we're in. If they didn't want to give him more money, fine. He could go somewhere else, and that's what happened. People act like he was trash because he wanted more money. The kid could play. He played last year.
Mhm.
Just because we pounded him doesn't mean he can't play.
We pounded a lot of quarterbacks last year.
Come
You
on,
know,
man, what are you talking about?
Quite a bit last year.
Man, we pounded him. He sucks.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't suck.
Right.
He's a player.
Right.
And he showed it yesterday. He's a player, man. You know, I think UCLA is one of those teams that's been trying to figure it out, bro. And they can't get it right. I don't know what it's going to take either. It's probably going to be a little easier in this era because they're not necessarily going to need a traditional guy, and that's the route that they went, and you would have thought that would have worked.
Sure.
I don't know what it's going to take, but in my opinion, that win against Penn State, because you did not have two equal teams.
No.
By any means. And Penn State should, you know, I don't know what's going on over there. So that UCLA win was a lot better. I have no expectations for Texas, bro. I knew once they get into the SEC who they really are, everyone would have to admit to it.
And I'm trying to think, well, talk about UCLA for them, when I was growing up, it was almost every year UCLA USC last game of the season came down to who decided who's going to go to the Rose Bowl and represent the Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever. But it was that game. That's how good UCLA was. And it was on the same level as Ohio State, Michigan, Oklahoma, Nebraska, but still it was a big game. It was a big game. And it always meant something.
And it had big players in it too.
Yes, it really did. And I mean, hell, you remember Aikman went there. You know, Aikman was a quarterback at UCLA for some of the Rodney Pete. Aikman and Pete had some battles against each other.
They used to go back and forth, man. People, J.J. Stokes, remember him?
Oh, yes.
Super tall, really athletic. He was a sexy college player, bro.
Yeah.
To watch him play, we would stay up to watch that kid play.
Yeah.
And something has happened in that whole, and again, it's not as if they're off in the distance. It's not like, you know, sometimes you have these teams in these same states and they're not in the same area and these areas. Bro, they right down the street from each other.
Yes.
In retrospect. So I don't know what it's really going to take.
And when you look at it now, you mentioned, UCLA, you mentioned Penn State before about the expectations. People have too high of an expectation maybe for Penn State. I think Penn State fans certainly think that every year Penn State should compete for a Big Ten championship, be in the college football playoff, and occasionally win the CFP. But with UCLA, they were the first 0-14 to beat a top 10 team in like 40-some years. Maybe 45 years ago it was. First time an 0-14 beat a top 10 team since then. And I don't know what UCLA's expectations should be because I don't think they can realistically get back to what they used to be.
Yeah, they don't have an expectation. They need a branding company to literally come in from a business perspective and help them rebrand the totality of who they are. And really, and I know that sounds funny, but it's really the truth. What happens with a lot of these teams is that they don't have an identity. Right. Your teams that has the longest lastingness, that how good they are is going to usurp the coach or the era. Ohio State's one of those teams. Believe it or not, the team up north is one of those teams. They made one hiccup, which is a huge hiccup.
Sure,
and that was with Rich Rodriguez. Yeah. And when
Brady Hoke was kind of was it Rich Rodriguez? Who's the other one after? Yeah, Hoke, right? Hoke
but this is okay. Feel where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
When Rich got hired, I said, ooh, and I did the calculation. I said, they're going to set that program back 12 years. Right. Totally different coach, totally different expectation. Brother, you a Southern dude. We up north here, sir. Yeah. It's not the same, right? Yeah. And he acted like he was deep down south, right? And these kids didn't respond to that stuff. They're like, dude, my daddy a judge. Who you talking to, bro? I don't need, let me call my mom the prosecutor. Right. We're not in that game. So what you would have thought would have happened when Carr left, they should have just went inside. Brady Hoke should have been after that. Okay. Right? And then you may have got another guy, and then your Harbaugh comes. Right. That's where Ohio State has always been more prolific than anybody. We haven't had a down error. No. Ever. Yeah. Like literally ever. But a lot of that, minus Coop, we had no problem looking inside, finding that guy who understood what it meant to be a Buckeye. And Coach Coop was the only guy. Yeah. But other than that, that's what Michigan should have done. That's what Michigan should have done. Other than that, like all these other teams are regional, bro. It seems like with the coaches. It seems like now, you'd have teams that could emerge
when they were breaking the rules and things. SMU, for instance, came out of nowhere and did what they did when they got
Absolutely.
Dickerson and Craig James. And you've seen teams able to make big jumps like that when they skirted the rules. Now it feels like it's a lot more difficult to build, like to rebound from a tough era or a tough stretch of years and things like that. It's a lot harder now to rebound from that because everyone's on an equal playing field. At least I should say you can't exceed certain other teams' playing field that you might be able to do before, giving someone an oil well or something to come play running back for you, like Marcus Dupree at Oklahoma. You can't, like those options aren't necessarily there anymore to make the difference, to make the sudden difference. It's all about culture now.
Well, believe it or not, I think you're 2 or 3 years from what you're saying.
Okay.
SMU was ahead of their time.
Oh yeah, they were. No doubt they were. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
In the time
they had a payroll. Yes.
In the time of today, which we would call it NIL at the minimum, right. Now they fit.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Sure, absolutely.
So now a regular they don't need culture.
Yeah.
We got the pocketbook.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's still tough because you're dealing with kids and you're dealing with humans.
Mm-hmm.
How do you, as a coach or an organization, now get the homies to move
right
consistently and passionately in the direction you want? In college and the good pro teams, but it's a little slimmer, it's culture.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people, man, if you really look at this, Ohio's, first of all, Coach Day is built for this time. I'm happy that we lasted.
Yes.
2, culture reigns supreme over that dollar right now at Ohio State. I'm not saying it's not going to change. It's like in sales. Do you want to be a transactional guy or do you want to be a relationship guy? Generally, you want to be a relationship guy because everything's not going to go your way, bro.
Yeah.
Right? You want your homie to cuss you out and say, man, let's get it going, just off to the next deal, as opposed to if the transaction don't do what it do,
right,
it's all going to blow up in your face. So SMU, believe it or not, I think would be more prevalent today,
sure,
than when things weren't as equal or had the opportunity to be equal. They had to actually make it unequal.
Yes, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? They had to make it unequal to get their opportunity, because as soon as they blew that, no, that's not fair, because they gave them the death penalty.
They did. They got hammered hard.
Yeah,
yes,
they gave them the death penalty. I was going to say something, but that doesn't apply.
When I look at, and I mean, no disrespect to these coaches when I say this, but like, I don't think Earl Bruce would be a successful head coach in this era. I don't think Cooper would be, and I don't think Tressel would want to be what a head coach is now. It's just the role has changed so much. I don't think that, Earl Bruce being the old school guy, he wouldn't want to have to re-recruit his roster every year. He wouldn't want to deal with the NIL stuff. And I don't think Cooper would. I think Cooper's fine as an X's and O's guy. I don't know if Cooper want to deal with all this stuff either. I sure as heck don't believe Tressel would. Ryan Day is built for this, though. You are right.
Coop. This is what would happen with Coop, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm only going off of history, which I was right in the middle of. Cooch was. This era would be good for Coop. How do you get the kids to be passionate about the foundation is the deal? Because he always recruited the best player. He did. Oh, yes. He brought that in the game prevalent. I know Michigan State used to get some really awesome players, but Coop really made it extremely popular.
He went across the country.
Even coaches, yes. Right? We have the best coaches and the best players. So I don't think that would have been the problem. I think his problem then would have still been the problem now. How do you move the dudes from transaction to relation?
Gotcha.
Right? That's why we used to lose, in my opinion, those the Michigan games, and then going to the bowl games. We kind of didn't give, people don't realize how that happens, but it happens. It's like, whatever, let's get this damn thing over. We're starting to get back home. Yeah,
I would say the bowl games for me always befuddled me how Ohio State, how many times you guys, in the Coop era, Ohio State had the better team.
Always, because we had a championship team.
Yes,
playing in the Citrus Bowl.
Yes, and then couldn't win the bowl game against Alabama, Tennessee, the game against BYU the one year, I think in the Holiday Bowl.
That was the Holiday Bowl. Yeah. That was San Diego. That was an incredible. That was a credible game. That was a credible game. Raymond Harris totally murdered that game.
Yeah,
and in San Diego, that was my first time in San Diego.
Oh, was it?
Revisionist prelude. I ended up playing for the San Diego Chargers, which was pretty dope. So I ended up going back to those stomping grounds. So that was pretty cool.
So Texas's struggles. And we know, look, lots of blame's going to fall on on Arch Manning, but there were a lot of people that hype. Arch Manning didn't necessarily hype himself up. He took the money, which he should do. You benefit off your name and like this, whatever you got to do.
It's not his fault.
I'm saying I think people will blame Arch.
I
don't blame it on him.
None of this is his fault. Zero of it is his fault. I think he's maximizing his opportunity.
He looks like a first-year starter, doesn't he?
No, he looks like a guy who probably was a walk-on and they had nobody else to play. He don't look like a first-year player at all. He looks like a coach's son who wasn't good enough to play, and he's getting this opportunity to play because of whatever. He doesn't look first-year player at all. He looks really bad, bro. It doesn't look like he's physically up for the moment. And that's fair, bro. I told y'all, when I first got to Ohio State, I should have never have come to Ohio State because the game that Ohio State played at that time, it was not fit for a 200-pound defensive end, defensive lineman. Bro, I should have, what the heck was I doing? Bro, I should have went somewhere down south where I could run around.
Yeah.
Nah, but it ended up working out in my favor. Arch, bro, he just looked, I don't know what he would do in somebody else's program, but the presentation that he's in right now, he can't play Division I football at the Texas level.
Is any of this on Sarkisian?
It's all on Big Sark.
It's him for having a quarterback who's not ready in that position, right?
It's all on Sark because he's the coach,
right?
He's the offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy. You're supposed listen. You're supposed to develop these. The most impressive thing about Ohio State, let's be honest, we got some stuff. We ain't all like we look right now. Just get it. We're playing incredible team defense.
Yes.
Like I said last time, we're on a string like nothing.
Yeah.
If you take it by individual position, but our defensive line ain't getting no pressure. We could talk about a lot of different things.
Right.
The most impressive thing is that you got to give the coaches credit for developing these dudes beyond what we had last year.
Yeah.
We had literally 3-year starters last year.
You're right.
Playing as seniors. That's crazy, bro. Yeah. That does not happen in not a plethora of your players on one side of the ball, bro. It just forget what era, bro. That just doesn't happen. Again, 1 year Clemson did it.
Yeah.
But the coaching and the development, but that's part of transactional and relationship too. Relational program, transactional program.
Yeah.
When you got a relational program, some of these dudes aren't even trying to leave. They're not even looking for the buck because they see the value of being where they are, which allows them to continue to develop.
So what's interesting too then though, is that when you look at that, Penn State was lauded in the offseason because it was widely thought that they were kind of following the OSU blueprint. All these guys are coming back that could have gone to the NFL. They hired Jim Knowles as the defensive coordinator. Like everything was set up like, Penn State's going to do this year what Ohio State did last year. A bunch of experienced guys coming back and guys that buy into the culture, buy into the team. And they've got the coaching staff got better by getting Jim Knowles as defensive coordinator off the defending Ohio State national championship team. And it has failed. It has failed.
Well, again, I'm an honest dude, bro. People take these names and pair them together.
I know.
As if Penn State is not okay. I do high school football, right?
Yep.
I'll give you 2 quick examples. The first time I did my game, it was Prickington North versus Dublin Scioto.
Okay.
It looked like a JV college team playing a freshman team.
Okay.
It wasn't anything equal.
Yeah.
The next game I did the defending state champions Olentangy Liberty,
right,
who lost 33 seniors, played the same Dublin team. And excited me about that game is that they were equal physically.
Okay.
So I could literally see who was really Dublin and who is really Liberty.
Okay.
And Liberty is still really good because of the foundation of their program, but the teams were equal. I did the Sunbury team.
Big Walnut?
I did Big Walnut and Kilbourne.
Okay.
Kilbourne's coming in. Man, they got, what's up, big sexy? Kilbourne 5-1.
Yeah.
Never been. Kilbourne got a bad reputation, bro, for athletics.
Sure.
Man, Sunbury looked like, I said, what is about to happen? Now, listen, Kilburn did. I give them credit.
Yeah.
But, bro, they were huge. Bro, we got to stop this madness.
Yeah.
Penn State, in no way, shape, or form, except for stadium,
right,
fit in Ohio State's realm. If they ever have a year and they're dominating the Big Ten, they should get credit for that, not an expectation for it, bro. They're not in that realm, bro. The team up north, they deserve to be criticized like that.
Yeah.
Penn State does not deserve to even be criticized, bro. I'm telling you, that Joe Paul stuff, that's back in sexy Vince.
Yeah, I tell you,
Vince's day, bro.
I have not seen Vince Workman for a long time since he's played football.
It don't matter. He looks the same.
I'm telling you, the dude looks. I called you a former defensive lineman, and I apologize for that. I am not calling him a former running back. This dude. I'm just saying, man.
Vince looked like this when he was a fetus, bro. You know what I'm saying? Are you kidding? He came out of the womb diesel and sexy, bro.
All right. We'll take a quick break. We'll get Vince Workman on here. We're going to talk more Ohio State football with I'm telling you, like, he looks like he's the after picture of Eddie George. Like I'm telling you, the dude is stacked. We'll talk to Vince Workman in just a second. This is the Tito Show, Jeff Thudoff Show, right here on Fan Street Sports. And folks, the studio just got a lot sexier. You heard Jimmie Bell talking about Vince Workman, former Buckeye running back, also former Green Bay Packer. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Anywhere else after Green Bay, or was it
Green Bay? My first 4 years, in Tampa Bay for a couple of years. I was in Carolina for part of the 95 season, but finished in 95 and 96 with Indianapolis Colts.
Okay. All right. So Vince Workman joins the show. And by the way, there's like 18 different Dublin high schools now. He was there when it was Dublin. That's all it was. It was just Dublin. It was just Dublin. And you had to be really good to excel out there. And he certainly did that.
Cornfield.
Yes, it was Dublin is what it was.
Truth, people don't realize. Tell them I have teammates and classmates that actually lived on farms.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's hard to believe you think about Dublin now. Tell us what you're up to now. I heard you and Jimmie talking about your gym just a minute ago. What kind of thing? What are you into right now? What kind of things are you doing?
I'm a fitness coach, performance coach out at Pekin Performance. It's in Dublin, Plain City area. And I've been there for 11 years now, working out there 11 years. And it's a great deal. I love it because I'm working with kids and working with the adults also, but just having the interaction with the kids, helping them out and watching these kids reach their goals. Because, growing up, we didn't have this type of stuff during my era. And I was assistant strength coach for the Packers for a few years.
Okay.
And, being part of the coaching staff, head coach gets fired. So, the staff is fired. And my son was living with me in Green Bay. And so I got into the private sector, training my son and his friends and started training, other people. And that's where I found my calling. I felt like, this is where I'm supposed to be, helping other people. Because somebody helped me along the way. I wanted to do, how it is, the Buckeye way, to pay forward by helping other people.
Good deal.
Yeah. So as you're watching this year's Ohio State team, and I know Jimmie watches with the defensive lineman's eyes, and I work with Bobby Carpenter. Carpenter sees from the linebacker. I talk to Schleggs; they see from the linebacker's eyes and whatnot.
That's good.
I got to believe. Like, what's it like for you? And the question I ask everybody too is: are you difficult to watch a game with? Because you're easy to watch a game with.
Easy.
Okay.
I like to watch the game.
Okay.
I don't like the people that like to keep talking over the game.
Right.
I want to watch the game. I want to sit there, especially if I'm at home.
Right.
At home, I want to watch the game. If I had the game, obviously you got the atmosphere, you got the cheering, you got everything else that's going on. But if I'm at home watching an away game or something, I want to be able to listen to the commentators and see what they have to say and watch the game myself. What
are your thoughts on Bo Jackson?
Very good. Very good. I think he's one of those guys that has good vision. What I've been watching, has good vision. He's always falling forward. You never see him getting bent back.
Right.
And he hits the hole hard. He hits the hole hard, breaks tackles. He has, he's not as, I call him like a slasher. He's not a guy like a jitterbug guy. He'll make one cut and go. He doesn't dance around. He makes that cut and he go hit the hole hard. But I do like him. For a young kid, he's a star, bro. Yes. Oh, no question about it.
He's a superstar.
Knew about him coming in, but obviously you don't get to, you have to see him play to know what they're really about. Everybody look good in shorts. And
the transition is different. There's a couple guys that, Maurice. I remember there was a lot of conversation about Maurice. I think Raymond was on the radio at the time, Raymond Harris. And you heard all of this stuff. Sometimes these dudes be so good in high school, it's hard to. And he played in SVC, but still, you put on the film, it's like, man, are you really this good? But it was like, man, listen, that dude is the hardest working dude on the field.
Yes.
And he's running towards something. That's how hard they say Maurice was playing. But I liken Bo, Lamar Jackson to the Weber era. You remember when Weber was incredible one year. Yep. He was incredible the next year too. Right. But we had this guy from Texas come in from an injury. I'll never forget. I was on the radio with Munch in the morning, and I told Munch, it's probably documented. I said, "Listen, bro, there's guys that are good, and then there's guys that are the guy. And once you see them move and see them play, it just is what it is, bro. Right. They're just the star. They move the way they move, and he's one of those guys. We got two. Well, at least got one good running back. We got one I think can be good. I think he just got to get out of his head.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
But he's when Bo gets in there, he's shown him he's a star. That's what a star Big Ten All-America, whether it's first team, second team, or third team, that's what they look like, bro. That's how they move. Yes. Anything under that, you're just a good running back. So he's a star, bro. He's a superstar.
I agree.
Was there someone when you were at Ohio State that came onto the scene after your freshman year and whatnot? But was there someone came on the scene you said, you know what? Immediately saw the guy and say that whatever position it is, that guy's going to be really special.
Well, we had especially a running back. Came in as a freshman, 85. Keith Byers was a senior.
Oh, right.
So, I wasn't expected to play a whole lot as a freshman, at least in my mind. I played special teams, but then Keith got hurt during two-a-days, so I got to play a lot as a freshman. Then my sophomore year, we recruited Jimmie Bryan out of Pennsylvania. Jimmie was, similar to Keith, where he was that big power back that could just run people over. I was 185-pound back, and Jimmie was about 215. So we were different style backs. And then my junior year, you got Carlos Snow come in. It was like that. We had star players coming in every year. Carlos Snow came in the year after that. And so, we had Carlos there. So we had some guys. Carlos was definitely a stud. He came in as a star.
Bro, that's interesting. Came out of Cincinnati. I did not know y'all were
Kate,
together.
If
you remember, that was the first dual
I was his host
high school.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah. I was his host.
ESPN Sports Illustrated cover.
Yes.
They were
Kate,
him and Emmett were battling high school.
That's right.
But they ran this. They were very similar built. They looked stouty.
Carlos was a little bit faster than Carlos had good top end speed. He can go. Carlos could go, and
bro, I did not know y'all was in the same. I'm gonna go back and watch that film differently now, bro.
Oh yeah, Carlos came in. Wow, was a freshman, and that was the year we lost Chris Carter though. So I got moved to wide receiver in the beginning of the season, like the third, fourth game, because we had some young receivers that just weren't panning out right. We had, we had some good young players. They just weren't ready to go. So they moved me to wide receiver because we had the talent at running back.
Right.
We had the depth at running back and I was the only one of the three running backs that could make the move to wide receiver. So I ended up moving wide receiver my junior year. But then I came back to my senior year, moved back to running back, and during the spring I won my starting job back.
But I think I remember you as a young fan at wide receiver.
Yes, it would have been the 87 season.
And that right there for me, and I'm obviously elder statesman in this group, but even though I dye my hair gray to look older, just so my friends don't feel I do it on purpose. Anyway, but that season though was one of the more depressing seasons for me as a Buckeye fan because there was so much hype coming in, and you lose Carter that way, and a couple of tough losses during the season. Then the Bruce stuff happens. It's like because that team was going to be loaded.
Well, we were ranked. We were preseason. We were ranked second or third in the country.
Right.
Preseason.
Yeah.
And then we lost Chris, and then we immediately dropped to like 7th or 8th.
Right.
Who was your quarterback? Fry?
Yes. No. Tom Tupa.
Tom Tupa. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Greg was the following year.
Okay.
Tom Tupa might, I don't know if he still is, but for a while he was the quarterback in the NFL from Ohio State with the most snaps played or something like that for the longest time because he had some time there. Yeah.
He was a punter.
Yeah, the punter.
I want to ask you something real quick. I want you to talk to the people real quick because this is what we do. We say Earl Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
We say Earl Bruce. And then we say, no, not Earl Bruce. We'll say Woody Hayes. Earl Bruce. John Cooper.
Right.
Right. It was Urban Meyer. Trust Urban Meyer.
Right.
And the people say Earl Bruce.
Right.
Tell people the significance and even in some ways the genius of Earl Bruce as an offensive guy that I don't think most people really realize how good he was as an offensive coordinator.
Well, he does get lost in the shuffle. He keeps following after Woody, coming after Woody. I mean, shoot, what's the guy in Alabama? He knows how it is.
Man, I'd have never took that job, brother.
No.
Man, I'd still be up
following Woody Hayes at Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, you're automatically is going, you got the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Yeah.
So his first year, they win the Big Ten, go to the Rose Bowl. They should have won a national championship if they had
17-16, I think. Yes.
If they had instant replay back then, Charles White didn't score that touchdown.
He did not.
But Earl, 9 years as a head coach at Ohio State, had a winning record against Michigan. I think he had maybe three or four Big Ten championships. But he had the winningest record in the Big Ten in those 9 years.
Yeah.
But people always want to talk about he was going 9-3. And that was the big thing.
Yeah.
He was not a media darling. You know what I mean? He didn't really
He was
care.
old school.
Yeah, old school. He was old school, wasn't a media darling, didn't care. He wanted to be a football coach.
Sure.
He didn't care about doing the commercial.
He was so old school as a young, you think about hindsight 2020, young dude. I used to think he was a defensive guy.
Oh, did you really? Yeah.
I think I heard Chris maybe literally as young as 10 years ago, maybe 15, him talking. And again, I had to go back and watch with different eyes. I didn't know he was an offensive guy. I thought he was a defensive dude because he was so hard.
He was old school. We ran the ball. We were going to run it down your throat. That's what we did. Even though we had, one of the greatest receivers of all time in Chris, and that kind of opened things up a little bit. You just throw the ball up to Chris, he was going to catch it.
Right. He'll tell you about his
ball. He was going,
his hops and hands, right?
Yeah, but Earl was still that old school 3 yards of cloud of dust type coach. And but he did a good job. I really respected him. He helped me out a lot. I remember when he was my sophomore year, I was struggling a little bit. I had first beginning of the season, I had a few fumbles here and there. And I got benched for it, which rightfully so. And he pulled me aside and said, "Hey, look, you gotta understand, you're a local kid. You got more pressure on you than some of these other guys because they may come from California or, Pennsylvania, wherever it might be. They don't have that, they didn't grow up here being that local star where everybody knew you in high school and expecting you to perform." So, he explained to me that and he gave me a second chance. I won my starting job back and, for 1,000 yards as a sophomore, starting only 8 games. So I was very lucky to do that. And, so I always respected him for, giving me a second chance.
That hype is all because of Archie. Local kid comes in and does it. Yeah. Anytime a local kid comes in now, Archie from Eastmore.
You always get compared to Archie.
Yeah, it's going to be local kid. Yes, this is the next Archie, baby. So in your guys' times with and around the program, since you've left the program and whatnot, I'm sure there's been times where it's been, there's been some dips just culturally within Ohio State. But they're on such a run right now. And it amazes me how autopilot's the wrong word because that makes it seem like he's not doing anything. But Ryan Day's got this thing rolling now, and Ohio State is now among like the most elite every single year. I don't see it falling off anytime soon. Would you guys both have liked to play for Ryan Day, for Matt Patricia, for Brian Hartline? Would you guys have preferred to play in this era than your own era?
I think for me personally, I glad I got to play when I did.
Sure.
I think my skill set would have fit into this system today because I fortunately I was versatile. Like I said, I played wide receiver as well as running back. So that's what helped me play 8 years in the NFL, just having that versatility. So I think I would have, been fine in this era. But I like the culture that they have. I'm going to always be biased towards my era. And the guys I played with, like everybody. Everybody thinks their era is the best era. It's just normal. But I think these guys have the culture that they have right now in that locker room and in that building in general is it's hard to explain. You have to be in there to really understand how it feels.
Do you spend a lot of time in there around the program?
Not a lot, but I do get down there from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah, shoot, that's good. For me, I don't think so. Now, football for me was different, even probably from Vince, and maybe not. So I wasn't the football guy, believe it or not. My family didn't know nothing about no football. In some ways, I didn't, bro. I went to Youngstown Ursuline. I just was following behind the dudes that was balling, and they was balling to fix their situation. I wasn't. I was having fun. I was a goofy, lanky kid. I was balling to have fun and make somebody look stupid, but I didn't know, what I'm saying? I didn't know the real ramifications, being a parade All-America and, USA Day, all that. I didn't really understand what it really meant. So I don't know if today's game would have had the grace for me to mentally develop. You see what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
I may have been tossed out a lot faster, but even still, I could have been tossed out then. I just think the Most High grace was on me that I literally lasted enough to show my value and my worth, to make up my mind to become who I was created to be, and end up balling out. But I didn't come in like, bro, I came in with Corey Stringer, but Corey Stringer practiced like it was a game. I played with Lorenzo Styles. These guys practiced like it was a game.
Lorenzo Styles Sr., just so everyone knows. Lorenzo Styles Sr. I don't want to think he plays currently.
Right,
no, I got to be sure. Let's see, he's not that. Don't try to sneak that in there past you.
So I hit up his wife the other day, and I even did it. I said, Big Zo. I had to go Big Zo. Then she hits me back. Here's Big Zo's number. I said, let's be very clear. So, Terry Glenn and Jason Gwynn, who dang near would have, if he wouldn't have passed away, would have revolutionized the game. Yes. But think about it. He played as a freshman. You know what I'm saying? So these guys was playing with a passion and vigor that I hadn't. You know what I'm saying? Just my education, my being exposed to the game and being educated to what the journey meant, I wasn't exposed to at the time. So I do sometimes think about, man, would I have survived? Because these dudes listen, even from getting with Vince, now as a high school dude, these kids think they want to play in the league.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they getting with Vince because they want to play in the league.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, Jimmy Bell, man, police, bro. I was like, man, let's go play some hoops. So let's go do something else other than
I just wanted to play in college. I wouldn't even think
Yeah, so times are way different.
I gotta believe. So for you, like you're doing yourself with your gym, you're training in a way that you didn't have a chance to, right? As far as like when you were coming up, I mean, fitness is important. You're in the weight room and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the level, the intricacies of it, the specifics of how to train and where to train this muscle, I gotta believe it's like night and day.
No, it definitely is. Fortunately for me, I had a coach in high school who was into weightlifting, Mike Mock.
Okay.
Mike Mock, he was very famous because he was a longtime coach at Kenton High School.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he was my freshman, sophomore year, he was our running back coach, but he was a strength coach. So he got us into lifting. We were doing this, the bigger, faster, stronger type thing, just bench press, learn how to bench press, learn how to squat. So I knew how to lift weights before I got to Ohio State. So it was, we didn't have the personal training and like the scientific way of doing it now today, where they got, core strength training. You got all kinds of different things going on nowadays. Yeah. So it is different, very different. Even at Ohio State, when I was there, Steve Bliss was our strength coach. We were still doing machines and doing the bench press and squat. And then is when Coach Kennedy came in and Dave Kennedy kind of changed things where you start doing more of the Olympic lifts. Doing the more explosive lifts and things like that. So there's a lot different. So I tell these kids all the time, y'all don't understand how lucky I got it. I sit there and I tell the kids, man, I wish I had this type of training when I was your age, man. So I had this personal training and specialized and stuff like that. I might have went pro. Yeah, the kids would stand there and look at me like, huh? Wait, didn't you go pro?
This is normal.
Sure, yeah, right, yeah.
This is normal. Nah, like even camps. I was telling someone the other day, like Clinton Lynch, who played at the University of Illinois from Youngstown, Ursuline, same thing. He called me. So, bro, camps were for kids.
Right, yeah.
The camps were not camps to go get seen. You got, but your films did everything.
Yes.
That was it. But no, me the same way, coach, but me was similar to you. So it's really no. You just so happen to have a coach that took the fellas to. So mine was Coach Smith. When you watch the 30 for 30 Youngstown boys, Roland Smith is on that. That was my high school defensive back coach who was our strength and conditioning coach. Right. But he took the homies to the hood. We in the ghetto. There was and I ain't from the ghetto. I ain't ghetto. My family ghetto, but I ain't from. I'm a suburban kid, bro. Like
I went to Brookhaven. I'm more ghetto than you.
Let me be you most certainly. Nah, this is the deal. I tried to act. That's different. I tried to act.
It just hits me naturally.
Yeah, but I wasn't. But Coach Smith took us to the hill in the ghetto and sprinting it.
Yeah.
But again, I look at myself, I'm giggling because I'm thinking about something. I didn't even, bro, I'm 6'2". I'm not big dude, but I'm running with the DBs and the running backs, the hills, winning them. I practice, winning, and I'm like goofy, like I don't even know what it means. I'm just running with Art Carter and Gary Sharp and the guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But no, we didn't have to go to events.
Yeah.
I got another homie, Hope Fitness. That does pretty much the same thing, and that's they're preparing.
Yes.
Attitude and everything. If you ain't get it from one of your parents or somebody didn't drop down on you and be like, Vince, bro, this is some real deal stuff here.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing. At our gym, we have mindset training for our athletes. We have the access to talk to them about the mindset that you have to have going into games, getting prepared for games, just preparing for practice or preparing for training.
Right.
So we talk to them about things like that, nutrition and all that stuff. We talk to them about all of that.
Because the nutrition thing, I know it's big. I'm sure it was prevalent when you were at Ohio State, but it's next level now.
It wasn't prevalent. You went to training table and ate what they gave. Now, listen, training table was good, but you went. The only people that had any level of nutrition when Coach Kennedy, I don't know how y'all had it, but Coach Kennedy would have the fat man table.
Okay.
So when Coach Kennedy came in, he was he was, I wouldn't say super scientific. Back then it probably was.
It was in the beginning stages.
Every position, you had to have a certain body fat, a certain weight, everything. If you didn't, two things. You was on fat man table and you was on that stair climber, no hands. And when I mean no hands, I mean it's blazing. It ain't on two. It ain't on two, Tito. That joker on 9, 10.
Yeah.
And he's walking around with a broom handle. And if them hands was on a pop, so when I mean no hands.
Right.
So when people be in the gym thinking they sexy, I walk away from the stair climber because that's like a torture. That's like torture chamber, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
torture.
Yeah, and I got it. For you now, though, the fact that you can, by the way, just as an FYI, if you say to people, every time you say, like, I wish I had this when I was younger, you actually age by 3 days. So I wouldn't say it around people too much. You actually age by, if you ever say, when I was your age, you'll age out really quickly that way. So as you guys are when you're watching this team this year overall, I mean, the defense, 5 points a game, 25 points in 5 games is amazing. And you got Julian Sand, a first-time starter out there doing what he's doing, the running game. And not to mention, my God, the receivers. But what kind of things have impressed you the most about this team and also just the last couple of years of Ryan Day's teams?
Well, like you said, the defense, the way the defense is playing, when you got a different defense coordinator, you're learning a new system. It usually takes time to really get the feel for that. As you can see, they're balling out. Now, I don't know how much of the former defense he changed, but I know he's got his own, fingerprint on this defense, and he's still learning them. They're still learning each other. So that's what's scary about it. They're just, playing like this in the beginning of the season. It usually takes time. Offensively, I usually wait and kind of see. I like to see the progression. How are we progressing during the season? Because usually offense doesn't get off to a fast start unless you have a lot of veterans coming back, which we don't have a lot of veterans on offense coming back. We still have a young offense. And the running game, I'd like to see it get a little bit better. And I think they will get better. We're talking about Bo Jackson and these running backs, but I think the running game can still improve. We're not getting that, 150 to 200 yards a game.
Right.
Where I would like
dominating.
To see them, I like to see them just do that. And I think that will come as the offensive line gels as the season goes on, because the offensive line is the one unit that takes the longest to gel to get together. And I think that they will be fine, long as we stay healthy.
I don't think it's the offensive linemen. I think it's I just so happen to think it's the running backs. Yeah. And
I'm talking more as a unit.
Yeah. You just, when you get to recruiting and stuff, and I sat down with Coach Carlos, man, super good dude. Great story, bro. Oh, Lord.
Oh yeah. I've heard of it. Yes. Yeah. His
story is, Jesus, going from damn near the janitor of Mississippi to where he is now. It's like absolutely crazy.
He's very passionate, too.
Very passionate and serious. He takes his job very serious. But when you recruit a certain type of fellow, you just never know, bro. Like sometimes people think, I don't care how many stars you got. You've been, we didn't do stars in our day, but just did it. We didn't do stars, but people were still highly recruited, and some guys came out from nowhere. Some guys are highly recruited and couldn't play. So you never know, bro. And I think sometimes dudes have a misconception. I think Peoples is going through a a Ross thing. I think he had a good explosiveness to him. And I noticed this when I saw him at the beginning of the year. He looked extremely thicker.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's confidence or whatever, but when your game is that type of game, you have to work out a totally different way to keep your game that game. So he's just not the same explosive, quick dude that he was last year. And I think everybody expected this year. So you just never know until you get going. Like the offense, you gotta keep going, bro. And I don't really know what's going to. I think Bo's going to be the guy, and I think once the running, I think they're gradually giving it to him. Right? They I guess want to say make him earn it. That's fine. And I think once the offensive line starts gelling with Bo as the number one guy for sure out the door, then I think we're going to see some more explosive plays.
So I know Michigan's the number one answer for both you guys when I ask this question. Outside of Michigan, though, who did you hate the most?
I don't know why. When you said it, my heart rate went up a little. Just saying that word made my heart rate.
I hear you on that one.
A little bit.
But I don't know, like, is there a team, though, that you played against that you hated, like either you didn't have success with or they were dirty or whatever? Was there a team, like, who would be next on that list?
For me, I don't have a next.
Really? There's nothing else,
that I dislike.
We don't have a rival.
Nobody just dislikes.
If you want to say tough, so you're offensive defensive ball. We knew what we was getting when we played Wisconsin. Wisconsin's probably the literal most consistent program in the Big Ten forever.
Yeah.
It may look different. The formations may look different, but bro, they running that ball, bro. Yes. You can think they're gonna do something else. Not they've changed, but they were running that ball. You knew they were running that ball. You knew it was going to be a tough day, but for defensive linemen, we looked at it as it's almost like if you were playing defensive back and you knew you was going to play a running team. You knew you was going to have a tough day, but you also knew you was going to have more opportunities to make some stuff happen. You know what I'm saying? So, I played Ron Dane, Terrell Fletcher, Brett Moss. They used to keep going with these running backs, bro. So yeah, I'd say definitely you're right. There is no other. We don't have that.
Nobody we hated.
We don't have that. We don't have another rival. Yeah. We don't have literally. People can say whatever they want. Even that Alabama stuff was weird, bro. People came up with this Alabama, bro. We ain't got no rival. We got one rival.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you guys had the 1 year that we talked about, you guys lost to Wisconsin and Indiana. Is that right? Or was it?
That was 87. That was
87. Okay.
That Earl got fired.
That was a year.
We were still a bowl eligible team.
Right. You guys.
We just had an off year.
Okay. You were bowl eligible that year, and you guys chose not to go to the bowl.
No. We didn't choose not to. The president.
Oh, it was president time. But Jennings?
President Jennings wouldn't let us.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was a player's decision.
No. It was the president's decision.
Why is that? Why
because Bruce was fired.
They fired Earl the week of the Michigan game.
Yeah.
The week of that Monday, he came in. The week of the Michigan game, he came in and fired the head coach.
Right.
I know that.
Yeah, and then
Sunday or Monday, but I mean, they told the team on Monday.
Yeah, I think what it was. Yeah. I remember later on that week, the marching band went out there. The band went and played in his front, went to his house and played in his front yard, and then go out there and they it's when Earl shows up in the suit and you guys get the win over Michigan there that day. That's right.
Okay, I do remember that.
Rick Bay was the athletic director.
Right. He resigned, I think. Right.
He resigned
because he wanted to fire him.
Because he wanted the athletic director to fire him.
Right.
And he wouldn't fire him.
Right.
And so when the president went over his head, he resigned. Yeah.
Oh wow, interesting story.
Yeah, that was a tough time for Ohio State football, and I can't imagine living through it and playing, and doing that. Yeah. But
who was the running back? Running back in Indiana, that was Vince Dunbar,
Anthony Thompson.
Anthony Thomas. They had two.
Thompson,
Vince
Anthony Thompson.
Anthony was coach.
Yeah,
they used to tiptoe that sideline before. It used to be crazy. That's funny. Yeah.
Do you think in this day, and if these rules were, probably if you could transfer at any time, without penalty now, because back then you had not only you had to sit out a year, but you also needed permission from the school to let you go to certain places. I believe the school could have a say and say you can't go to these places. Do you think you might have transferred or wanted to transfer at some point?
I don't know. I thought about that before, but because it was going to my senior year. I was a junior, so I was going to my senior year, and there wasn't anywhere else I would have wanted to go.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the schools I had been recruited by. I think that it's easy to say now if I look back and thought about it for long and hard, but I don't think I would have went anywhere. I think I would have stayed.
And it worked out great for you. Yes, I got to believe, because the Ohio State, like you guys talked about before, the brotherhood of Ohio State, and if your first name is former Buckeye great, you've got a lot of different doors open for you here in the community that might not be there. Not that you don't deserve those doors. I'm just saying that, but it certainly helps out that you've got that legacy and that you were here for the whole time. Who would, if it wasn't Ohio State, where would you have gone? Who was second? I know you didn't put the hats in front of you and do the whole thing on ESPN.
No, well, the second.
Oh, don't say it.
Uh-oh.
I was very, Bo Schembechler was very, very influential person. So,
yes.
I mean, I really
former Buckeye too.
I really like Bo, and I remember sitting in his office on that visit and had a picture of him in his office with Woody. Them two together and stuff like that. And my first visit was to Michigan State.
Okay.
And the recruiter for Michigan State was Nick Saban.
Right, Saban there, yeah.
Recruiter. So Nick Saban recruited me.
Right. And
then I went to Notre Dame, where Jerry Faust was the coach at the probably knowing that he was probably going to get fired, that kind of made me lean away. But I enjoyed my visit to all the schools.
Right.
When I went up north to visit that school up north, and Bo Schembechler was, very involved. I remember picking him up at Don Scott Airport over here.
Yeah.
In my car to drive him to my house, to, Bo Schembechler to my house and things like that. But it was funny because I remember coming back, and my high school coach, you've met my high school coach, but I don't know if you met Todd Alice. He tells a story very, very well, because he picked me up at the airport after I came back from my visit, and I had a Michigan T-shirt on, or sweatshirt on, and Bill Miles, rest in peace, and some of the other coaches were in the airport picking up, some other recruits. Else. Yeah. And they saw me with the Michigan shirt, and they looked at coach, because my high school coach went to Ohio State also. He was a walk-on at Ohio State.
Sure.
Ohio State. And, but he didn't influence me to go either way. He just, this is your choice and things like that. So I'm walking in Bill Miles, and Mr. Bill Miles, they're like, man, what the, F he doing with that?
You probably ain't even know back then how crazy the Michigan
thing was. But I'm like you, I'm just smiling.
Yeah.
Just, hey, how you doing? But the next week I went to, had my visit to Ohio State. So I don't know if you remember the old highlight was on.
Yeah, the highlight. Yeah,
that's the old highlight.
That was Woody's place when he was. Yeah.
So they said, you got, how it was. You get recruited, you get a visit. You got a schedule. You go see this coach. So it just said lunch at the highlight. That's all it said, was lunch at the highlight on my schedule. So I go to highlight, and I'm walking in, the waiter takes me to my seat and go to sit down. Had the big backs to the booth, and I go and I see Woody Hayes is sitting in there.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh snaps! I'm like, that's Woody Hayes. I'm sitting down, I'm being polite. Been taught to say yes sir, no. So I'm looking, I'm like, yes sir, no sir. So they had him prepped. He knew everything about me and stuff. Yeah. And he's like, at the end of everything, like, son, you from here? He took his fist, pounded the table. You got to go here. I said, yes sir. So when people say, why'd you go to Ohio State? I said, because Woody said I had to.
Right. Hey, it's God and Woody Hayes here. And if Woody Hayes, if God didn't tell you Woody Hayes does, you go though. That's the next level. Right.
That is great, bro.
But my heart was always with the Buckeyes. I knew I was going to go here, but like I said, Bo was he had to push. He had a strong pull. It would have been, if I had gone to school there, it would have been because of him,
right?
Not because of the school.
Sure, yeah.
It would have been because of him.
Yeah.
Did you understand, a Columbus guy, the magnitude of the rivalry, so to speak?
Yes.
You realize how, and you still had the courage to go up there?
Oh, yes.
You got to take the visit. Look, Michigan, say which one. Michigan's a good academic school. They're a very good academic school. And Bo Schembechler is an Ohio State guy. He's a Woody guy.
That was the only reason why I even went up there, because of Bo.
Yeah.
That was it. Just because.
Schembechler almost left Michigan in the mid-'80s. Might have been like 86, 87, actually. A&M came after him. And A&M, oil money. A&M they offered him a huge contract. And he was on the brink of signing it, decided last minute, I can't leave. I'm staying with Michigan. But Schembechler damn near went to Texas A&M.
Wow,
yeah.
That's a good story, too.
That Woody Hayes thing, though, was great.
That's a true story, though.
That's the highlight, by the way. When they tore it down, it became the Buckeye Hall of Fame Cafe that was there for years. That's what it was there after that. And so, anyway, but yeah, so that's a fantastic story. What was second for you if it wasn't Ohio State?
My first, Ohio State wasn't first. Not because I wasn't a fan, because of my ignorance.
Okay.
I told you I wasn't a football. My family, they didn't know. And I didn't realize I was a top dude in the country. So So Georgia Tech came after me. I told you.
You did tell me that. Yes, you did tell me that.
National championship. They had some Ohio ties for some reason. Youngstown Dayton. And
Bobby Ross, right? That was
Bobby Ross, bro. And my first visit was the Georgia Tech game. That was their bring in their number one guys.
Yeah. Right.
And man, I told him I called home like
that's right.
Like a Harlem Nights. Tell your mom I'm not coming home. Shoot, and this is way before Atlanta popping now.
Right.
So just imagine even back then it was still popping, but not like now. It's like, I'm shoot. And my second choice probably would have been, believe it or not, it would have been Pitt.
Okay.
Because Pitt back then, they were still neutral. They weren't as good as they had been. You know, I'm from the area, from Youngstown in that area, and Pitt was paying people. like Pitt was the, you know, I can say the word. Yeah, they was NIL. Like Pitt was, everybody knew going to Pitt it was on, and they were in such a place where if you recruited, you were going to have to play.
Okay.
Pitt was still big time football back then. Yeah. And I probably, if I'd have went to a Pitt, I probably would have been my journey would have been different. And I played at Ohio State, it was no big deal, but it probably would have been a little bit different. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I probably would have started as a freshman, right. Minus my injury.
Yeah.
And literally started for like 3 to 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what that looks like when you play so much ball at a certain university, you're going to get a look at the next level simply because of who you played for and how much ball you played.
We're going to wrap things up here, Vince. Plug your place again one more time for us, please. Where to your gym?
PQ Performance is out in Plain City. It's on the border of Plain City, Dublin, and we do a lot of not just personal training. We do mindset. We got Pilates. We have physical therapy. We do a lot of different things. So you want to look up PQ Performance of Dublin. That is where we'll be. PQ Performance. PQperformance.us.
All right. We will and we'll also put that on the when we release the video for this later on today. We'll make sure we have a mention of that on there as well. We appreciate the time. Thanks so much for coming in, buddy. I appreciate it.
It's always,
can I ask another question before?
Please,
Jimmy. Can I get go ahead, before we get so check it out. Offensive guy, I still think they're either scared or they're not scared. That's not a good term. They're slow walking Julian for a reason. I don't know really what do you think that reasoning is, but one thing I had to concede to, bro, I looked at those numbers. If this dude continues to grow in this trajectory, he's going to be in that Heisman room. He's going to literally win the Heisman off of default. But with that being said, what do you think about what you think they're trying to do with the maturation of Julian? I think, but you got Brian Hartline, the new coach. I think they're trying to figure each other out, all of the coaches, but it doesn't seem like they're totally maximizing the whole offense right now. And obviously it's behind
I agree
Julian.
with you on that. I agree. I think it's part of it, like twofold. Like you said, I think Hartline is still learning to he's learning his way of how he wants to do things. And also I think they're bringing him along slowly, letting him grow. I think, trying not to throw too much out there, too much at one time. That, you can see every game just progressively getting more and more. The offense is opening up more and more. And I think that for me, that's what I want to see. I just want to see that progression as the season goes along. And I think that's what they're doing. They're just not asking him to do more than he needs to have to do right now.
Right. That's good.
Yeah. Jimmie, look at me and look at Vince. Look at Vince. Look at me. Look at Vince. I am 4 years younger than that man. And I want you to look at me and tell me what in the hell has happened that I am 4 years younger than that guy and I look like I could be his grandfather.
You need more acai in your life. That's all. You need fruits and berries.
I played in Green Bay and lived in Green Bay for 10 years. That cold air just keeps your skin tight.
Okay. Maybe that's what it is. I need to go to Green Bay.
That's the only reason, right? Nothing to do with the physical fitness, nothing to do with the working out. It's all because climate. That's why I look this much older than him.
Hey, look at me. Hey, look at me.
I'm telling you, dude.
Look back at me.
I look like Santa Claus. Right.
Answer my question.
He's on American Gladiators. I look like Santa Claus. It's ridiculous.
Vince been sexy, baby. I told you, bro. He's the sexiest fetus in the game.
There he is. Thank you, Jimmie. Thank you, Vince. This has been the Jeff Nutoff Show. FanStreamSports.com. Download the app, free for app and Android users. And then go to the website, the new design website, FanStreamSports.com. All kinds of great stuff on there all the time. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again next week.